Inworld allows you to have these dynamic, real-time conversations with these AIs, conversations that if you don't want them to end, they never will. Hey guys, I'm Liam. I'm the lead developer behind Slothtopia, and I actually incorporated Inworld recently to enhance AI interactions to really bring the game to life. And it has been a tremendous experience. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to improve their experience with their characters, add a little bit of life, to add variety, and to simplify even dialogue with their NPCs. So Slothtopia is a traditional take on a social sim, kind of like Animal Crossing and The Sims, but we wanted to take it down a different path and integrate more fishing in the game. So the whole story starts with you playing as a sloth who is taking over his family's fish farm, and you're there on the island, you're meeting friends, these other animal characters, and you're helping grow this village, this island, and connecting with everyone else there while you're doing that. How we stumbled upon Inworld was actually that we were building our AI interaction for Slothtopia, and it was going fairly well. We kind of went with the Animal Crossing style. You talk to these characters and be able to engage, build these relationships. There's emotes, there's so much expression and emotion with each of them, but that was set to a limited dialogue where we had to write down all the scripts for them. But then I stumbled upon Inworld. I saw that it offered this potential to create very dynamic live NPCs that are able to interact with you in real time, and you don't have to write any of the dialogue. I was baffled. I sent that to him. He was like, Liam, let's integrate this ASAP. This looks great. I was hesitant at first because I was thinking, oh, we just developed our system. This could take me maybe a week or two to integrate with our system. But surprisingly, it was very easy, and it really opened up a lot of doors for us with AI. So within World, we are able to bypass a lot of the limitations that we had with our pre-scripted NPC dialogues because, that's all tree by tree, and we have to write all of that ourselves. With Inworld, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to have someone behind a computer writing all these lines down because the AI is managing that for us. And when you play a game and you have an NPC run out of things to talk about, they just start spitting out the same thing over and over and over again. With Inworld, that's not going to happen. Inworld allows you to have these dynamic, real-time conversations with these AIs, conversations that if you don't want them to end, they never will. You're constantly building relationships with these characters that feel so lifelike. And once we integrate emotions more in there and we have animations that are responding to those emotions, we have emotes, we have all of these cool little particle effects, like little hearts that come up when the AI is happy. That's what's truly going to bring this to life. Our goal with Inworld is to have an experience that is very indistinguishable from hanging out with other players. In the end, our vision is to blur the line between players and AI, and Inworld gives us that flexibility. So with Inworld, you can definitely simplify a lot of that dev time. You can cut down on a lot of it because you don't have to write all the dialogue trees anymore. You don't have to go and branch off different conversations. You can actually cut down vastly on the amount of time needed to give life to these characters because Inworld will generate all of that on the fly. It really is a magical thing. So in integrating Inworld, I pulled up the studio and I went to the integrations tab where it has the list of different integrations, Unity, Unreal. No, in my case, it was Unity. I clicked it and that actually opened up this really handy tutorial section that kind of walks you through everything that you need to know. I just followed through. I watched the video for a quick overview and a little bit on the integration itself. I skipped through the lip syncing and eye movements because those are all optional, but I went through all of that and that kind of helped me have an understanding of how to integrate it. And then I went over to the studio where I created my character, which is Wolfram. I didn't use the characters that are over here with Ready Player Me. I actually used one of our own characters, so I actually just ignored that aspect right there. And then under scenes, I created my own for Sloth Islands, which represents the island in game. So here's Slothtopia, our brand new island scene. Still a work in progress, but this right here is Wolfram, who is actually representative of that character that we showcased earlier in the studio. You speak to him. Over here, if you do converse, this is where it triggers Inworld to start speaking. So we press this, and it'll go ahead and send hey, in which he'll be like, hi there. So what brings you to this beautiful island? I'm always looking for someone to join me on my adventures. Little dialogue input prompt will come up. You could say, I'm always looking for new friends. You down? He's so kind. This is all powered by Inworld, and you can just converse with him until your heart's contentment. How we're going to have it set up in the future is we're going to be pulling in the emotions that Inworld allows, and actually injecting emotes, certain animations, and other things into the character, so it really feels very alive and very dynamic. And all this is possible because of Inworld. So this is my interactable NPC over here, and over here you'll see that the Inworld character itself, where it has all the references required to have it run properly. Once I had that set up, I went over to the studio panel and I logged in with my credentials. You can go over here. There's a quick little link to find that. Actually have everything set up on my Safari browser. So let me go ahead and pull that up here. And you will see that if you go to integrations, you can request a studio access token. So just copy that. It should give you about 15 minutes to plug that in and connect your Inworld setup. So I went over to Inworld, I went to Studio Panel, and then I just paste that in over here, log in. I set up the workspace, Slothtopia, my key, and my Inworld scene. And it takes a few minutes to pull that, or a few seconds rather, to pull that from the server. There we go. And now it's connected. It should download the data that you need. So Wolfram actually got pulled from the server, and you'll see it. I have a second one over here. Wonder what that's about. I'll set up to my old name. But here is the new one. And once the Inworld character itself is set up, you can add the audio interaction or the interaction as well, or it'll automatically be added at runtime. But I like to have it there already, so that's my interactions over here. And then this is just set up to my animation, although since I use my own configuration, I don't think it really matters here. So you have that, and then my interactable NPC component is the component that holds all the references for my character, essentially the brain of the character. So I'll go ahead and open that up. And if you look over here, I actually have, in my awake method, I'm checking to see if an enrolled character is attached. And if it is, then I'll go ahead and add a listener to the onCharacterSpeaks and subscribe with my own function right over here. So whenever the character speaks, it should go ahead and send over this data to my character. It'll invoke this method. It'll debug the character's name, the text. It will queue that text up into a concurrent queue, as you can see over here. I have the text getting enqueued over here. And then if a conversation hasn't been started yet, we'll go ahead and we'll initialize essentially the conversation. And this is where I go ahead and link it up to my dialogue system, to the typewriter, to everything that's required. I hide the dialogue input at the very beginning. And I will set up the player. I'll set up the in-world character. And then if text was recently submitted, it will go ahead and play the in-world text automatically. This is so that when you press enter, you know it'll automatically start the conversation with the NPC. He'll respond right away. And here's my method for doing so. So I will go ahead and try to dequeue the text. If it pulls up, it'll output it, and it will play the text through my dialogue system. Now this is using the Unity dialogue system, which is right over here. Dialogue system for Unity. It's an incredible asset actually by Pixel Crushers that has been used in many games, AA, I believe even AAA titles as well. I went and adapted the system partially to work with Inworld, and that's what happens over here. As soon as text is submitted, it sets up the variable that the text was submitted, and that is pretty much it. The rest coincides with the assets that I'm using, the typewriter and the dialogue system. But the simplest part of the setup is we have the on character speaks that we subscribe to, and I have my method over here that says, okay, you know what, let's cue the text up, and then whenever the player presses enter, whenever he wants to continue with the conversation, we'll go ahead and play that next in-world text, and it will send that over to the dialogue system to run the typewriter to output the text with the special effects, and does so all at the user's pace. So it's not getting pumped out all at once, but rather it's getting pushed out step by step, which you'll be able to see over here. Okay, so this is the beach, and here is Wolfram over here. So we go ahead and speak to Wolfram, and hey, what's up? We go ahead and press converse. We can maximize this. Better visual. Sure, what would you like to talk about? So now I have this actually opening up the prompt right away before I would go ahead and automatically send the message to start the conversation, just sending out hey. But now we have the input prompt immediately. So sure, what would you like to talk about? How are you doing today? Hey there. I'm doing great, and you? What brings you to this part of the world? I'm a big fan of tropical vibes. Oops, spelled that one wrong. Tropical vibes and a good time. What about you? Oh, that's awesome. And see how there's a little arrow pointing down. That's essentially you press enter, and then it will continue the conversation. So, that's essentially our configuration for Inworld and how we integrated it with the dialogue system for Unity and typewriter effects. With complex technology, when you have a relatively new piece of software or you have something so complex as Inworld being built, you don't always get the kind of feedback that you need to really integrate something into your project or the kind of feedback you need just to get past certain roadblocks. But with Inworld, it really was a lot different than that. They helped me every step of the way. I actually had a conversation with Yan. It was back and forth where I was having certain issues and he helped me address them. We both debugged everything together and we fixed and improved a lot of aspects of it. And you see that kind of back and forth is what I truly value as a dev. It's something that makes all of our lives easier, and we can have those conversations in Discord so easily from our phones, our computers, wherever. And Inworld has provided that, which has been really nice as well as that, we had our concerns about pricing, and Enrolled told us that whatever that is, they'll be able to actually have custom pricing plans available. They'll work with us on whatever we feel we need, and that has been incredibly helpful and a big relief to us as well because we're an independent studio, and to know that Enrolled has our back and wants to work with us, it feels really nice. So Enrolled has helped our gameplay a lot because now we're not confined to having to use the dialogues that we write on our own. Maybe a player will speak to an AI or to one of these NPCs and run out of things to talk to them about, in which case the NPC is just going to respond with the same thing. I mean, we've seen that in games all the time. It's just the same thing over and over. We have no more interest in talking to these characters. But now that we have Inworld built in, it allows us the the power and a true sense of connection to be able to converse with these characters as much as we like, whenever we like, which makes it feel a lot more immersive, makes it feel like you're building a real relationship. And then with a new feature that Inworld is coming out with the goals and motivations, that's really going to take us above and beyond what we thought possible before, because we're going to be able to get the AIs, for example, to start fishing or to join you on an excursion, to do things with you in a way that really feels like you're hanging out with a friend. I honestly think that soon enough, this may feel indistinguishable from people, especially with the way we have these characters set up where they're speaking in a way that feels very alive and animated. It truly is going to feel very, very immersive. Within World, the response to it has been very overwhelming because people will go ahead and speak to the AI and they'll be like, whoa, this thing's actually responding to me in real time. Like it's actually speaking to me. It's having a real conversation with me. It's going to make players want to connect further and deeper with the NPCs in a way that before wasn't possible.